Recording. I was saying hello and didn't realize you couldn't hear what I was saying. Sorry about that.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How are you? Good to see you. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Let me pull up files. Hey, Ross. So we actually have several items on the agenda this evening and want to stay on track. So I will explain kind of how this goes. I'm Laura Haining. I'm planning director for the city of Boerne. I've got Sarah Seha Bennett on the line as well from my staff. She's one of our planners and has probably talked to a few of y'all before. The reason for the bond meetings is so that everybody has a chance to actually talk to the developers of the properties that are being considered for development, ask questions. The meeting is not required, but the developers have offered to sit down and talk to anybody that's interested in the project. So it gives them a chance to kind of share their plan and answer any questions. So I'll get started with just a overall explanation of the plan that's being considered, the development that's being considered. And then we'll let the developer speak and explain the project, and then we'll open it up for any questions from the community. And then we'll move through each of these. The first item on tonight's agenda is 36025 IH10 West. I see Ross is on the line and we'll be able to answer some questions, but let me pull up what I've got for this. I'm sorry, not as prepared as I'd like to be. It's been a crazy day.
I have it open here.
Oh, good. Thank you, Sarah. So the property under consideration is located on I-10 on the access road, kind of across from Woods of Frederick Creek, which is located on the other side of IH10, right there at Frederick Creek. And they're proposing an apartment development for the site, 192 total units with quite a bit of green space. They will provide some open space along the creek that will be dedicated to the city of Boerne. Ross, did you want to speak to the development in general and see if there's any questions?
Yes, I'm very happy to. I had, it looks like you have our presentation pulled up. I'm happy to run through each of the slides here quickly if you think it's helpful. Sure. So maybe just I'll just give a very brief background. So my name is Ross Stitley. I'm a development partner with Roars Companies. As Laura mentioned, we are proposing to build a multifamily community here, something that we have done in many communities. This project specifically is, again, if you go to the next page, is going to be about 192 units. You can see the unit mix there between the 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. We are and will be planning to meet all of the city's ordinances and requirements regarding any dark sky requirements, parking ratios, all of that. Of course, we won't be disturbing any wetlands. And as Laura mentioned, regarding the dedication along the creek there. So I thought maybe it would be helpful if you could go to the next page of the presentation. So just to show a couple of examples, what we're proposing is a 3-story garden style building. These buildings are a good mix of high quality durable materials at the exterior. We here at Roars, we are we are long-term owners. We are not in this to build these projects and then sell them the day that they are built. We are 15 to 30 year long-term hold owners. So with that mindset comes a really, really strong adherence to building with again quality and durable materials, because these are going to be our buildings and we are going to be with these for a long time. So at the exterior, we're talking, mason, a mix of masonry, stucco, and cement poured siding. Again, something that we've done at a number of our other projects. On the interiors, we'll have a number of community amenities like you'll see in just about any other high-end market rate product, with the club rooms and the fitness centers. We will have a full-time on-site management staff and staffing offices there, walking trails, community room, a pool at this location. And then, Laura, if you don't mind going to the previous one, the units themselves, I'm sorry, maybe down two more. Sorry, the units themselves. Again, this is we build. This is Class A housing. So solid surface countertops, stainless steel appliances. Hard surface flooring, in-unit washer dryers, patios and balconies at every unit. So again, this is really a targeted Class A built project that we plan to be with for the long-term foreseeable future here. So anything, I should say, happy to answer any questions about the project or anything else here.
Great, thank you, Ross. So I would open it up to anybody that has any questions. I see one hand raised. Did you want to ask a question about, so if you'll unmute yourself, did you want to ask a question of Ross, or was there another, is your hand raised for a different development? It's whoever is at 210-325-9299. I see a hand raised, but you're muted. Let's see if I can unmute.
I think when you're in the phone, it's a little bit difficult to
Mute and unmute. I want to make sure we get. There you go. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes,
I
sir.
hit that by mistake.
That's all right. Did you have any questions, or do you want to wait for something a little bit later?
I'll wait for some more information.
On this development?
Yes.
What information would you like to hear? Now's your time to ask.
I'm just curious which property it's on, because I wasn't even aware that property at that location had been for sale.
Oh, yes, sir. It's been for sale for a while. Let me see if I can pull up my location map and I'll show you kind of where it is. It's at the dead end of the access.
It's at the dead end? Okay.
So so here's the creek here. It's this property right here.
I'm sorry.
wait.
Laura.
Let me transfer to you, Laura.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry. Sarah was it.
Let me make you a host. And now you can share.
Okay, good. So here's Frederick Creek. Here's
You're
Woods-
not sharing it.
I'm sorry. I'm going to figure this out, guys. Hold on. Give me a second. Share my screen. And this one. And oops. Here we now I should be fixed. Can you see me now? No, now you can see me.
Now we can see. Yep.
Great.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. We're still learning this stuff. All right, let me make it large enough and then shrink, scale back a little bit. So this is an aerial of the site. You've got I-10 obviously here. Here's 46. This is Frederick Creek right here. And this is Woods of Frederick Creek, which is the residential area across the street. This property is right on this corner here. So the access road actually dead ends into this property. It will stop right here and they'll have access at the end of the access road to come into the apartment complex.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Was that all you had? Sounds like it. I don't know, Ross, that we don't have anybody else on the line to ask any questions of. Did you want to add anything else before we move on to the next agenda item?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, we're very excited about this project here. So, you know, we will continue to make ourselves available. Should anybody have any questions, happy to facilitate and try and get answers to anybody. We obviously we want to be good partners. We want to be good neighbors. So we will make ourselves available as such.
Thank you, Ross. I will tell you, we, in announcing these bond meetings, we do put it on the website. We just got brand new signs that we posted the other day, so I apologize the signs didn't go out earlier. But we also, for anybody that's listening, we also geofence an area. So if you're signed up for any emails or notifications with the City of Boerne on our website, then you'll get notified. If you're close to that area, we notify everybody within 200 feet at the very least of properties. Of course, these are acreage properties, so there weren't a whole lot of people that were notified in this case via geofencing. But just so you know, we reach out as many ways as we can. The signs are new, so you'll be seeing more of those around town. But anytime a bond meeting comes up, you could be notified of those, and then you kind of know in advance before any of these items go to the Planning and Zoning Commission or Council. You'll get a heads up and you'll get a chance to ask questions of the developers.
I also wanted to point out the fact that this particular item is not going on the December agenda. So this is, they wanted to present the request and see what the public had, and then they'll come up to Planning and Zoning Commission.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Okay, well, the next item on our agenda, Ross, if you want to sign off, you're welcome to. If anybody has any last minute questions or comes on later, I can send them your way to talk to if you're okay with that.
That sounds great.
Laura, I actually have a question. Is this property currently annexed?
It is not. It still needs to be annexed and zoned.
Okay. And we're working through that process with Delaney and others right now.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to my presentation again, Laura. I know you've probably seen that 3 or 4 times. So,
That's great.
but thank you. Yes, please do let me know if there's anything else, but I will sign off here.
You bet. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
So the next item on our agenda this evening is a property, and we'll start with location this time. Let me back out a little bit. Located off of Cascade Caverns Road. And what you'll see coming to the Planning and Zoning Commission and Council will be for a rezoning of the property that's currently commercial zoning. What they're proposing, though, is single-family residential, but it's multiple dwellings on a lot. So here's I-10, here's Cascade, Old San Antonio, Cascade Caverns. And this site is right at the corner of North Star and Cascade Caverns. It includes this lot as well. I'll show you the site plan if it will quit spazzing out. Oh, this is the old one, Josh, sorry. I got. Here we go. Proposed site plan. The zoning request will be for multifamily because the only option we have for multiple dwellings on one lot is essentially a multifamily zoning. They really didn't want to move forward with the multifamily because it sounds like apartments. In general, when people see it, that's what they're going to think, but they wanted to do a bungalow development here, but they're limited to 1 story with the bungalow. So the only other option for them is to ask for the R4 zoning. That's what they'll be requesting for this site. But Victor or Josh, if you want to kind of go over the plan in general, that would be good.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. This is Victor Sheely, and I'm a principal with Source Texas LLC. And thank you, Sarah. This is a project that is just 9 to 10 acre site. It is presently single family residential. And what our intent to develop this property is to preserve as many of the oak trees as we possibly can on this site, incorporating the oak trees into a private community under a PUD. And it will be gated, fully enclosed, and these single family residences will be a total count of 35 of them. And the price range or the square footage will be on an average somewhere between 2,500 square feet, 2-story. And the price range will range between $650,000 to $800,000. And it is a focus of this development for 55 plus community. So our planning and development team has laid this out to be dictated to by the tree coverage, using the trees and the existing site to create a village type environment. So we are actually way below what is allowed for density on this particular site. And so once we have the PUD in place, then we will start improving, which we hope to have the project completed anywhere from 1 to 2 years from this date. Josh, do you want to add some engineering comments and so forth based on your planning and control of water?
Real quick, Victor, what a PUD is for folks that aren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
It's a planned unit development, and what it does is lays out the site and the features of the site. So as part of the zoning, the PUD will run with it. The planned unit development will run with that. And essentially it guarantees what they're presenting here. So the planned unit development, whatever they provide for us, has to pretty strictly adhere to what they're showing you right now. There may be some adjustments between now and P&Z, but it'll look very similar to this. And they're proposing driveways in. These are all driveways, not streets. And each one of the units, I'll show you because Victor, I pulled it up for about 2 seconds and then put it back down. These are what they're proposing that the homes will look like. There will be a mix of 1 and 2-story homes. So all of that will be laid out with the PUD plan. And that's one enforceable feature of the PUD. That's why it's perceived pretty positively with the city, because then we can guarantee what's going to go on the site. So Josh, go ahead.
This is Josh Valenta with McNamara Engineering. Happy to answer any questions that come up. I do want to point out that we intend to follow all the city's latest and greatest requirements in regard to detention and lid water quality. This project was platted some time ago, so technically speaking, it's invested out of that. We just don't think that's good practice here. So we intended to comply with all the newest ordinances in that respect. It will have a detention pond. It will have a water quality aspect to it. Perhaps some linear water quality features in some different areas for treatment and vegetated buffer strips. All that design comes later in the process, as Laura could attest. Right now, we're just trying to come up with a plan that everybody likes, that the city and developer, engineer, and all stakeholders can support.
Thank you, Josh.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there anybody on the line that has questions regarding this development?
Yes, Laura, Lance Kyle.
Hey, Lance.
Hi, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the little hand icon.
Oh, that's fine.
It disappeared. Yeah, I'm just curious. That's interesting. I didn't know that this was grandfathered, had prior vested rights. I'm just curious, do we know how much impervious cover there's going to be here?
I don't have a number for you this time. I mean, the plan you're looking at is what we propose. And so, you know, as part of our analysis, we'll mitigate those impervious covers with detention and retention facilities.
And I think I saw on the other slide that the detention pond that was, and I know this is all preliminary, was at the back southwestern corner of the property?
Yes, sir. That's where we plan to put it now. There may be some more in-series features as we get through the analysis. There's an existing channel right adjacent to there and drainage easement that runs around the adjacent development called Abington Ranch. And so those easements are already in place, already sized for ultimate development. And that water ultimately conveys underneath Cascade Caverns Road and down around Allcat, eventually to the creek.
And the developer is aware that this is in a watershed?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And that flooding is definitely a distinct possibility?
It always is. Yes, sir.
Just to go back, did I hear it correctly when the developer said that the size of the bungalows is going to be approximately 2,500 square feet? And did he say 2-story?
Yes. Laura, you want, yeah, thank you. They're 2-story.
So that would be, you know, a 2/3 of that as a footprint. Correct me if I'm wrong, Victor, but the 2,400 would be both stories. So the footprint wouldn't be 2,400.
Right. That's heat and cool space. So that,
Yes.
and that's an average. Some are smaller, some are larger.
And just a couple more questions. Thank you for answering. Would this be subject to a tree protection plan that would be filed with the city?
Yes, sir.
And finally, Laura, does this conform? I'm learning every day about the intricacies of zoning and master plans and codes, development codes. I'm still way behind your body of knowledge. Does this development at this point, or this preliminary drawing, does it conform to the UDC?
Well, it actually does. We've met with the development services, utility, fire has already taken a look at this, the plan as submitted. And, you know, it meets the regulations for fire code and so forth. So keep in mind, and I don't know, Lance, if you were on early, but it's considered multifamily because it's multiple dwellings on a lot. And he's going to be selling the dwellings. It's kind of a condominium type scenario, correct, Victor?
Yeah, that's
Where
right.
they sell the structure, but you know, they don't own the land underneath. So that's why it's being called multifamily with a PUD plan on
Yeah.
top of it, so to speak.
A condo would be the common name for it.
Is the PUD gives the buyers a little bit more control over property rights, or is it vice versa?
Well, the PUD controls
Okay.
so there aren't going to be any property owners yet, obviously, when the PUD plan is in place. So really it acts as a site plan, and we can look at specific criteria on here and essentially places conditions on development of the lot. So when the PUD plan is approved, that is what's approved for that site. So what you're saying is what you should get.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you,
You
Josh.
bet.
Yes, sir. Happy to answer anything. If you come up with something later or whatever, please reach out.
Does anybody else have any questions for Josh or Victor? Lance, one last chance.
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate the time. Josh and Victor, if you want to sign off, you're welcome to, or you can hang in here and listen to this last agenda item.
Got it. Thank you very much, everyone.
I'm going to hang out. I'm enthralled, so I'll hang out and be quiet.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, you don't have to be quiet. Oh, thank you. You too. So the next property under consideration, Sarah, you may want to take control again because I'm not, I think I know where this is, but I'm not sure.
So let me take control
There
and
you go.
share my screen.
And turn on your speaker.
Yes.
So again, if there was anybody that was late, we just got new signs the other day specifically for the bond meetings. The meeting is not required, but the developers I can volunteer to come in and share their information prior to going to the Planning and Zoning Commission or City Council. And so they can share the information and get feedback from the public. So that's what the bond meeting is about. We do geofence, and I'm going to keep saying that because I keep advertising it because it's a really, really good way for people to get information in advance. And the bond meetings are, we geofence an area and identify everybody within 200 or 400, in this case, 400 feet of the property and notify them in that way, but you've got to be signed up to get that information. So while we'll be putting signs out in addition to doing the geofencing, sometimes we'll send it in letter form if we have enough heads up. In this case, we did not.
Yeah, this was a
So
very short notice.
it was fairly short notice, but that's the purpose of the bond meeting. So also, if you talk to people and they're unaware of something going on, they can always go back and watch this online. They can watch the meeting, get the information. We'd be glad to provide contact information if they want to talk to the developer or the, in this case, I guess the property owner as well. So it's not the end of it. It will go to the Planning and Zoning Commission and to Council for approval. This is actually the first one since we've changed our UDC that is requiring a special use permit for short-term rental. Downtown area does not have that requirement. The historic district does not have that requirement that you get an SUP, but anything outside of that in a residential area does require a special use permit in order to have a short-term rental, also called VRBOs, B&Bs. That's what this is. So Sarah, take it away.
So I see the applicant is online as well. This is,
Mr. Montero.
no, it's Todd Halberg. Did I say your last name correct, sir?
You did.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
So this is, as Laura was saying, this is the first request for short-term rental. And from the information the applicant submitted, he rents the whole house as a short-term rental when he's not using the property. One of the purpose of doing this SUP is to make sure you're not losing the neighborhood fabric, so you still have the sense of community. It's a little bit different application than a regular special use permit, because on the special use permit, when you're developing the project, you do have a site plan and all that stuff. When you're doing for a short-term rental, there's no site development. They're just changing or requesting a specific use. So we do have, this is the location of the site. And according to what the applicant told me, when they do the short-term rental is with the whole property, they have parking, they have the restrictions, like how many people are supposed to be using the site, no parties, things like that. And this is all things that we can actually follow through and make sure it's correct and enforce it based on a regulation. As the first one, we are kind of trying to figure out how the community is going to react to that, how P&Z is going to react to requests, and how City Council is going to be doing
Right.
as well.
So really what the reason we want to have the bond meetings is to get the information out there and allow neighbors to ask questions about what the regulations are. The property owner is on the line. Anybody has the right to rent their property on a long-term basis. So if the property owner wanted to rent this for 3 months or 6 months, it wouldn't be a question, but short-term rentals are a little different animal. So I would like to hear, if you don't mind, from the property owner, just to talk about what regulations you'll have in place and how you can enforce those.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Hi, Laura. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you again, or hear you again anyway. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I have a daughter and son-in-law that live in Fair Oaks and a grandchild, an 8-month-old baby. So I'm from Austin, spend a whole lot of time in Bernie. In fact, I literally just got home an hour before this meeting from the place. Side note, if Juan's on there, hi Juan, I bought unit 432 from Juan. We closed a couple Mondays ago. And
I thought.
Hey Juan. Anyhow, that's a long-term rental, and I've got a nice lady, single mom, and three teenagers moving in that like tomorrow. Anyhow, yeah, I have a Airbnb in Austin also, so this isn't a first time thing for me. My plan is to spend a lot of time there during the week and rent it out on the weekends when people need places to stay coming into Bernie. In fact, my daughter was married in the Bernie area in one of the jillions of wedding venues. And so we're very targeted marketing to couples, first of all. So there's 3 bedrooms in there, and we have king beds in each one. So we're not trying to gang pile people in. We're trying to get couples to come in. And you know the kind of people that come to Bernie. It's not a teenage, college crowd. And you can walk the streets. It's an older crowd, and that's what we want. And anyhow, so couples, we have a maximum of 6 people. We have a maximum of 2 cars. We have no parties. We have no outside guests. So if you're not one of the 6 registered guests, you're not welcome. I have a ring camera on my front door. Head counts will happen. And they know it. It's not a secret. So we're pretty serious about it. Aside from the fact that I live there quite a bit, and I don't want people to hate me. So we're trying to do it right. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions? I don't see anybody other than Mr. Montero on the call. Mr. Montero, did you have any questions? It sounds like y'all already know each other.
No, ma'am, I don't have questions, and yes, we do know each other.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we don't have anybody to ask any questions, so this has kind of been for our own benefit, but it's a good rundown. So just so you understand, the meeting is recorded, so P&Z Council, any nearby property owners can come back and watch this at any point to kind of get some information. So is there anything else you wanted to add before we close up for the evening?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think you've probably addressed most people's concerns. They're more concerned about the noise and parties and so forth. So
yeah, and Sarah knows this. Laura, you probably don't, though. This all started for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably giving a lot of extra information. But anyhow, we started doing this not knowing we weren't allowed to do it.
right.
So I found out that taxes weren't being paid because state taxes are all taken care of by Airbnb. So I made a call to the city, said, hey, I need to pay my hotel motel tax. They said, well, yeah, that's great, but you're not even allowed to do that.
You turned yourself in.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean,
Right.
anyhow, the day we figured this out, I arranged to pay the taxes that were owed. I also shut down both websites, Airbnb and VRBO. But having said that, we had quite a few weeks of guests coming in and out, and I've had I talked to my neighbor at, I guess he'd be at 430. Those are reversed. 432 is on the other side of, yeah. No, that's right. So the neighbor at 424, I talked to quite a bit, and he said that everybody's been lovely and exactly the kind of people I want. And so anyhow, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do it right and above the board, as I mentioned, which is why we closed down the sites and paid the taxes. And now we're going through the process. We didn't realize that everything changed in July. So.
Right. No, that's fine. You're not alone in that. So we're actually going to see more. And probably the fact that you've kind of been operating already may be helpful for you because you've already established your reputation. So I think that's good. All right. Well, we really don't have much else to say.
Just want to mention that I met one of your guests, Todd.
Yeah.
And the guy was really, really nice, respectful, and no issues with him and with his family while I was living there.
Good.
So,
good.
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear it. That's the input we want.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, Juan.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, everybody. That's all we had this evening. I appreciate your time and walking us through the project. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Good evening,
I'll
everyone.
have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.